Guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope everybody is having a great day as always. And if you're new to this channel, my name is Jeff, and this is where I share my personal passions with you guys. Obviously, I have a passion for horology. In this case, this is a Rolex GMT Master 2 Pepsi, as they call it. And this is going to be reference number 126710 BLRO. And again, this is in a Jubilee. I also have a passion for firearms. If you look through my channel, I have a big gun collection, and I have a passion for cars. I have a 2023 C8 Corvette, hardtop convertible special edition, 70th anniversary. If you want to check that out, please go through the channel and take a look. Let me know what you guys think. But today we are discussing the GMT Master 2. I'm going to give you my opinions of why I think this may be discontinued, and I might surprise you as to what my opinions are on this. It's a little bit different than what everybody else is posting. I also want to give you a little bit of a history on this watch, more of a higher level, which ties into what it currently is today, and also the ownership experience of this as well. So again, just to recap, this is a reference number 126710 BLRO, and this is a Gen 2, or some would say a Mark II dial. And what does that mean? That means in 2018, when this was released, this was a lighter variation as far as a bezel in the blue and red. All right, does that mean anything to you? Probably not, But for collectors, for some of them it do. You couldn't tell a difference by looking at this watch right now, but if you put them side by side to a Mark I dial, you'll notice that the bezel has a lighter blue and a lighter red. Though it looks kind of light in here, it's actually a little bit lighter again in the Mark I. And this also means this is the old style card. This is not the new card, which I believe came out right around 2021. So this is a 2019. We'll have a separate video as to where I got this watch, how much I paid for it, and that amazing experience. I can't express that enough. We'll also be taking a look inside this watch roll as to what is in here. It's a bit of a surprise as well. It's not an unboxing, but something that's very sentimental to me. So let's take a closer look at this particular model. Starting things off in 1955, Rolex introduced the GMT Master, reference number 6542, with a blue and red Bakelite bezel. And if you're not familiar with Bakelite, I believe even to this day, they still have a slight radioactive reading with a Geiger counter or something else that you would use. And for collectors, that particular model, especially if it's in mint condition, it has a hefty premium on that watch if you can find it. Now, for the average person, what does that mean to you? Probably nothing. The average person's into watches that are not heavily into horology probably wouldn't want to watch, that is that old. For me, oh my God, that would definitely be the holy grail, to say the least. Again, just as a recap, this is a 2019, and this is a Mark II dial. What does that mean for most of you? Again, probably nothing, but for the collectors, this dial is slightly different. It's got a darker red and blue compared to the Mark I, which came out in 2018. So this is a 19 with an old style card. Now, going back to the history of this watch, in 1959, Rolex released the reference number 1675. They replaced the Bakelite bezel with the aluminum. Now, that's where things get a little bit tricky for me. The aluminum bezel, I'm hit or miss. I like the richness of the color and the aluminum bezel versus the current ceramic. And this watch also came originally with a Jubilee. So when they came back in 2018, they were bringing this watch back to its original form, which I do appreciate. So guys, let me know what you think. The aluminum bezel that started with the 1675, what do you think about that bezel versus the ceramic? So ceramic will last longer as far as scratches and durability. Aluminum can get scratched a lot easier, but if you drop this, you're definitely going to chip or break the ceramic. Again, I'm hit or miss. Moving forward to 1981, Rolex released the GMT Master 16750. Again, that's still going to have the aluminum bezel, and that is in Jubilee. And then working our way to 1988, Rolex released the GMT Master 16700, and it was the last GMT Master reference. Moving forward from there, it's considered a GMT Master 2, and you could rotate the bezel at that point in time, and you could adjust the third hand. So it's a slightly different variation. Now, of course, there's going to be some little nuances that are different as well. And of course, the Jubilee bracelets back then, I believe, had hollow links. So they're not going to be as strong as the current bracelets that we have. There is going to be a little bit more wear and tear on these bracelets as you wear them compared to these. These are definitely more durable. So moving forward to 1989, Rolex changed this nomenclature to the GMT Master 2, and they gave it the reference number 16710. And this is the second generation of the GMT Master 2. It offers Pepsi bezel and as an option. So this bezel, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you had a option to get the aluminum or, in that case, the Bakelite, right? So if you want to choose aluminum or that, you can choose either one. Now nowadays, what you get is what you get, right? If you get a ceramic bezel on this watch, which currently you have no choice, to my knowledge, you can't change this out. So guys, correct me if I'm wrong. Can you go to a Rolex AD where you live or what country you live in and change out this bezel if you choose to do so? Now, I do know that people have done that with the Daytonas. They have changed the dials from white to black. I have seen that. I haven't seen anybody modify a Pepsi. So that's a great question if you guys do know. Moving forward to 2014, Rolex releases the GMT Master 2. This is going to be reference number 116719BLRO, and this is going to be in white gold. Now, these are, this is where things get, again, a little bit tricky of the history of this watch. And again, we're going to tie into why I think this is going to be discontinued right here. So when they released this in white gold, the difference was going to be, especially when you fast forward to 2018, it was going to be in an oyster bracelet, right? So you could tell the difference between this and the white gold being an oyster bracelet, and it had a blue dial, and it only had a blue dial back then. You fast forward a few more years later, and they brought the white gold with a black dial, and again, it was on the oyster bracelet. They did not come out with a Jubilee. Well, if you fast forward for the GMT Master 2 Pepsi currently as we speak right now, they introduced this watch recently in the last couple years with a oyster bracelet. It looks identical to the Pepsi. What does that mean? Well, for some people who collect, they were, kind of upset. They were like, I spent all this money on a white gold, and now people are buying these stainless steel Pepsis on an oyster, and it looks almost identical. Now, the material is slightly different, to say the least, but this ties into why I believe they're going to probably discontinue this watch. And I say probably because you don't know for 100%. One, they've already pretty much done everything with this watch besides increase the case size, right? They've already went from Bakelite to aluminum to ceramic. Then they went to white gold. They changed the dials. They added a Jubilee, which was the original. And then they brought back the oyster, which is what it was with the white gold. I think, in my opinion, unless they make this a left-hand drive, which Rolex recently has done, let me know what you guys think about that watch. I think that they've pretty much done everything they can. Now, right now, the rumors are currently, hey, Rolex is having problems with the ceramic transitioning from blue to red as they're making this in the production floor. Now, is that the case? Well, only Rolex knows for sure. I heard rumors that letters have been presented to ADs. I have not seen that. I have talked to authorized dealers. I have talked to people in the business, and a lot of people are saying that's the reason. Here's my issue with that. A lot of people are saying, hey, they're going to bring back the Coke. Well, the Coke has a red bezel. What I don't know is if their bezel is completely red and then the black is adhered on top of it, because that's what this is. So this bezel, when you put a black light on it, is completely red, and then somehow they adhere the blue on top of that. So if they're having a problem with the red, as far as it transitioning to colors or the red in general, I don't know how they're going to bring back a Coke. I just don't see it. As far as the Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3 dial, and so on, I simply believe that Rolex is taking advantage of their production that's having problems, like slight little problems, right? So in the gun world, if there is a upper assembly that's having a problem, they'll sell that at a slight discount. Well, instead of selling at a discount, I think Rolex is just using these bezels and not wasting any money. Do I think it's a big deal? I'm hit or miss. I'm 50-50. I I don't know. I really don't. Give me your thoughts. Give me your thoughts. I don't know if it's really that big of a deal as far as production, and that's why they're pushing these out with different colors. I mean, you got to remember, when you're looking at the Cermet or the Kermit, or whatever you want to call it nowadays, or the Starbucks, those bezels have changed as well. So it's not just blue and red they're having a problem with. They have changed those colors into a brighter green at some point and then a darker green. So I don't fully buy into that's why they're discontinuing this watch. What I do believe is they've been testing the theory of this being a 41 millimeter. Again, it's gonna be a little bit shocking to some. What my theory is, if you look at the 41 millimeter GMT from Tudor, which is connected with Rolex, they've been testing it out, and that has an aluminum bezel. It's a GMT. It's their version of the Pepsi and the Tudor. I believe they were testing the waters and still are with the case size. So just like the new subs, I believe they're gonna come out with a 41 millimeter version of this watch. And call me crazy, but I would not be surprised if they still have a ceramic blue and red. Now, is that gonna be next year? I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised only because Rolex does what they wanna do, and nobody except for Rolex in that factory knows 100% what is going on. So I would not be surprised if they introduce this as a 41 millimeter next year. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. But I do believe that they're running out of options with the 40 millimeter version of this watch. And that's why I believe it's going to be discontinued, not just because of the bezel. Now, if you look at collectability as far as these watches, currently the price range of this is selling about double of retail. Now, we can make a whole nother video as to what the prices are going to be if this gets discontinued. Obviously, it's going to go skyrocket. But those prices will be varying for so many different reasons. I can just tell you this. Find an authorized dealer, if you can, to still get this watch. Highly doubt it. Extremely hard to get. Or find a pre-owned place to buy it, and you're going to want to buy you're going to buy the service. You're going to buy the trust of the person selling you that watch. You really want to trust who that is, and do your own research as well as to figuring out how a watch is determined to be fake or not authentic, been modified. Do your own research as well. Having said all that, again, to recap, I believe that they're testing the waters with the Tudor. As you can tell, the Tudor came out with different Jubilee bracelets, which looks very similar to the bracelets on the Rolex models. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did come out with a 41 millimeter version of this watch. I also believe they're going to do the same thing or something similar to that to the root beer as well. Now, this is my GMT Master 2 root beer. If you guys have been following the channel, you know I've had this for a little while. And picked this up new in 2018. If you want to know my prediction, I believe this is going to come out in a rose gold Jubilee for next year. So this is my prediction of the root beer. Now, again, I think they're going to follow suit exactly they did to Pepsi. I think, Pepsi currently has the option for a Jubilee or oyster bracelet. I think they're going to do the same thing with the root beer. Now, obviously, they changed the GMT Master 2 Pepsi and, the GMT Master 2 in the yellow gold recently with the silver lower and the gloss black on the top. That watch is hit or miss. This watch is absolutely gorgeous if you haven't seen this in person yet. As you can tell, it is very, very well worn, as it should be, and it's not going anywhere. So recap, next year, I believe this is going to a Jubilee. And if they do, and they discontinue the oyster, and that means technically this watch is discontinued. Currently, these are selling, I don't know, probably roughly around 7,000 to 8,000 over premium currently on a pre-owned. And they're kind of hard to get right now from authorized dealer as well. Not as hard to get, to my knowledge, obviously, as the Pepsi. So if you guys had to choose between the root beer and the Pepsi, which one would you guys choose? I love them both for different reasons. And I'm very fortunate to own both. Again, both of these came out in 2018. So that's my prediction, guys. I do believe this will be probably discontinued, but I have a feeling we're going to see it right back in a different variant. If you guys know anything different, let me know. I would love to know what your theory is on that. And as far as ownership, let me know what you guys think as well. This is the most comfortable bracelet I've ever worn compared to the Daytona and all the rest of the watches that I've had throughout the years in my collection. Absolutely love it. Perfect daily watch. So guys, thanks so much for tagging along. That is my prediction for 2024 and why I think this watch will probably be discontinued. So like, share, subscribe, drop a comment, and let me know what you think. See ya.